Hello and welcome to the 67th episode of Rambling Weekly. I'm going to be talking about consumption, as the title says. We'll get into it. Not really an epiphany, but probably something that, I don't know, should probably talk a little bit about. So we're going to take a break, get into it, all that fun jazz. So stick around. Welcome back. That is from the Ys Piano Collection Album 2, and that is Wanderers from Ys. It is the only one of the four that is from Ys 3. The other three are all from Ys 4, just throwing that out there. There's a lot in that album that is from Ys 4, but I like the tune. I like the album. It is, I don't know, there's something about it that's enjoyable. It's piano, soothing, calming. I don't know, not like I'm in some sort of crazy needing to calm down. I'm more than anything, just a little tuckered out. But that is what it is. So, hi, how's everybody doing? Hope you're doing well. Sorry about not having one last week. I put out a little uh, comment thing at the YouTube town crier post sort of thing. It was like, hey, part of it was because I had a different topic in mind, and I need to kind of put my thoughts together better than what I had for it, and it wasn't just coming out. And I was like, heck, this one I'm actually recording. It is 7:32 p.m. Thursday. I wanted to record this earlier in the week, but I don't know. I've been going to bed kind of early last couple weeks. I think it's or a couple days. I think part of it's the sun's been out. It's been very nice. So just like, I'm kind of sleepy, and it's only nine o'clock. But I've been getting up at like 4 in the morning, so that probably plays a part in it. Yeah, what has been going on? I've been editing the book more thoroughly, which has been nice. Some things have, I don't know. There's some feelings in it that I'm like, oh, this is nice. Because I was wondering if I'd be very indifferent towards it, especially after editing Sudraba. Sudraba is very ugly, and so there's almost kind of like a degree of separation. Not, not a divorce of I don't want to be known about it and stuff. My name's on there, so if I wanted not to have any sort of connection to it, I should have made it a pen name or something. But there, maybe that'll help. But no, with this one, I'm more of like, oh, hey, I'm enjoying this one. There's a little bit more. There's a little bit more light in the story. Um, yeah, so it's been nice. It's been nice to kind of get into that a bit more and everything. So, um, been editing that. Other than that, I streamed a little bit. Not too horribly much. I've been pretty just bogged down with everyday living sort of thing. I did get to see two of my friends from high school that I haven't seen in like 15 years, so that was really nice. Um, yeah, it was kind of funny because it was like we hadn't seen each other in 15 minutes as opposed to 15 years. So, yeah, it was really nice, and hopefully, at some point they might have uh, maybe not an interest. I might have to force them to do a podcast. It'd be kind of fun, just to, yeah, yeah, just to, for posterity's sake, we'll say. But man, it was good. It was good to chit chat with them and meet up and everything. The place where we ate, it wasn't bad. But meh, meh. That's kind of my feelings towards it. Um, but I don't know. That's kind of how I am. I'm, I'm really. It is much more the company you keep as opposed to anything else going on. Like, you could be having fun playing a game or whatnot. None of that stuff really matters to me. It's more of like the people that I'm with when it's at that point. So, um, yeah. So it's kind of like, the food was okay, but the company was much better. So yeah. That anything else been really going on? No, no, not really. No, I've been playing a little bit more of Caves of Could. Streamed a little bit of that. I've been kind of dabbling a bit more into Jupiter Hell again. I haven't played it in months. I was like, I'll play a little bit of it. And of course, the first time I play it, mind you, it's still on easy. I haven't done very well on anything else, but first time playing it, I beat it. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then haven't done it since. So it's just one of those kind of things. I had been dabbling a little bit in Resident Evil 4, the 2005 version, but or whatever, 2005, 2006. Um, but yeah, it just kind of hit a point where I was like, okay, I'm done playing this. Really don't have too much of an interest in playing the remake. Um, Anything else? Not really. Halo 1. Kind of dabbled a little bit in Halo 1. I think it's really neat that you can just hit like select and it'll change from the spruced up version versus the original version, or at least a close approximation of it. I think that's kind of neat. Um, yeah, I think that's really been about it playing games wise. As I drop that pen, um, yeah, it's I don't know. Like I said, I haven't been doing too much. I've just been kind of swamped with things, and not necessarily. I don't know, just what I guess swamped with work to where work has got me tuckered out. Um, and then also editing the book is kind of a bit up and down. More recently, more ups than downs, which is nice. Not that it's bad, but it's more of really have to like isolate and kind of focus on it, and it's hard to really explain it any other way. I know I was actually talking to one of my coworkers earlier today because she's like a big Beatles fan, and she was talking about how that there was that what was that? That one like documentary came out that had like a bunch of hours of them all just kind of playing and stuff, and I don't remember what it's called. I don't like it. Not quite a jam session, but I think it sort of skews into that. From I never saw it. Don't really care. I'm not a Beatles fan, nor do I. Does that stuff interest me? Like I just not like I guess it's the seeing other people be creative. I don't I don't care about people who I'll like never get to meet in that regard. It's nice to be supportive of those people who I do know who want to be creative, but I'm really of the mind. It's like you're like that's a bridge you yourself have to cross. Like I can't I can't really help you. Um, I know what works for me, and even then, it's kind of like, does it really work for me? um, but like when it comes to writing or editing and or even just making the bleeps and the bloops, I don't have a like to me it's just more like this is annoying. I just want it out. So I, I really don't. I don't really. It's just not a thing I find interesting. Um, but yeah, so with like that for me with writing, it's like I've just got to focus and block out everything. Everything just becomes a nuisance, and so yeah, like to me, the creative process is not an interesting thing to think about because it's just like nope, boop 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 boop. But yeah, um, let's see, anything else? Not really. Yeah, that's all I got. Like I said, it's been a pretty ho hum sort of uh, last couple week, 2 weeks. Not really too much going on. We have this lopsidedness. Camera's flipped. I can't really do anything about. Oh, well, whatever. My head's lopsided to begin with, but that's just sort of how it is. Uh, there's no ear to keep the hair down. That's what I'll just explain it. I'll explain it away that way. Anyways, yeah, that's all I got. So we're going to take a break and then get into the topic. So stick around. Welcome back. That tune there is Field, which is from East 4. I think it's the original one's Field of Gale. I could be wrong, but my brain is it's puttering along. I don't know. Like I said, the last couple of days I've just been. I think it's the sun, just getting a lot more sun the last few days because it's been good weather, like mid to high 70s, low 80s, and not rainy. Like last week. Last week it was rainy, dreary, and 40s for the high. So a little bit better. Anyways, yeah, no, I like that tune. Good tune. I don't know why I always say that. I have no other. Ah, this song's awful. I don't want to. I don't know why I picked it. It's such a bad song. I don't know. It's just it's piano goodness, and I don't know. Just something about it I really like. Part of it's also because I hear like I'll like re-listen to them and I'll be like, oh yeah, let's go with this one instead for this time. Um, so sometimes my brain just is like, oh, shut down. Boo. It's the same thing I've talked about before when it comes to like lyrics and stuff. It is very music is very fleeting in my head. Um, that's the only thing I could think of for it. Like it is kind of a concern. It's like, is my brain just not working? And I don't think it's quite that because I can remember other things. I just think it is a lot of times because of how I use music or how music is used in different media. Is that it's there to evoke a mood, feeling, and get you hyped up, kind of thing. So yeah, it's a very fleeting thing to where I'm like, okay, like I don't need this anymore. It's gone. Like I literally cannot replicate. I cannot make the mouth sounds to think of how the tune goes. Oops. um, but yeah, I think it's more than anything. It's I see it as such a, which is probably at very strong odds with a lot of people. Like I don't find music that um, mm, like it's very important when it comes to a game or something, but I don't find it as I don't know how to put it. it's an ephemeral thing that just kind of it's just a moment thing. It's so fleeting, so um, not so permanent. I don't know. Maybe because I'm a writer, I got a harumph and be like that music and its sound. I have no clue. I don't know. I don't know why I even say half the things I say. Anyways, yeah, the topic is consumption. Um, and I want to start off by being really boring and going and reading the what is given to us by searching the definition online, and it is the dated version. I actually kind of like this one. The dated version that we really don't think of anymore for it, and it is similar to tuberculosis, emaciation, phthisis. I think that's how you say that. With a wasting disease, and that is, yeah, it's a wasting disease, especially pulmonary tuberculosis. Used as an example, his mother had died of consumption. Dun dun dun. We use it now as, using I have the other ones here. Let's say the using up of a resource, the eating, drinking, or ingesting of something, an amount of something which is used or ingested. Now, why am I bringing this up? So, as I blinded myself with the background that is not black. I use the dark mode for OBS because that's what I'm recording this on. Surprise. There are probably better methods, but I'm an idiot, so yeah, you use what you can, and then you just kind of let the rest go. But why am I bringing this up? It finally dawned on me, and probably it took far too long. And this is probably like, wow, Taylor, that was a pretty obvious thing. Why people get so huffy puffy? Well, not everybody. So a lot of people do get huffy puffy when it comes to, oh, I dislike certain thing, and that is because their identity is determined by the consumption of things, by what they consume. So it's not. Think of like how commodified the thing, the term of gamer is, and all that kind of I hate that word. I really don't like that word. It's an annoying word. It just sounds annoying, and I think it's because I'm saying it annoyingly. So, but the commodification of that is, well, you are a gamer because you, in your free time as your hobby, or maybe more, can consume gaming entertainment, gaming news, gaming music, gaming. You play games and that sort of thing. Or somebody who's into sports, so they're a fan. They're a sports fan. Oh, well, fan is short for fanatic, and and then they're just into whatever. They're into, if they're not into a majority of sports, maybe they're more into the local sports, or maybe they're into very specific sports, some sort of niche sports of Formula One, even though it's not really niche. But a lot of times you need to be a gearhead to really appreciate that. Not always, but that gearhead adjacent, we'll say. But the but it's you have those things, and it's not just strictly that, like a singular one, but it could be a couple of those different boxes, and that is how identity seems to be forged nowadays. It is not the person. In a way, it is. It's the person that acts, but it's there's this bizarre commodification, or the consumption. Like certainly somebody who's like we kind of will waylay into some of these people who, maybe they like hiking, but they like hiking to a very strong extreme, and that's all they are known for is the hiker. But um, but it's the kind of the power washing, we'll say, of somebody's identity to be like, well, this person likes to hike, and certainly they may have other things, but they are the hiker. Or, oh, like I know I've gotten this a lot, where, because I like games, but they're like, they're a hobby. They're not the be all end all of me kind of thing. But says the goober with the Kirby plushies just hanging out over there, and the wall scroll of Zeto and Aono Kiseki characters. Anyway, and and the Mario stars. But but that's what kind of, you get that pigeonhole of, oh well, you like the games, so it is all about the games. I know I said something about talking to Todd, who's been on an episode, talking to Todd about a couple things, and I mentioned, I was like, oh yeah, we were shooting messages back and forth on Discord, and immediately it went to, oh, what kind of games were you playing? And it's like, so like, I don't know. I guess I mean, it's not that uncommon, but it is kind of weird that Discord immediately equated to games to be playing. Things. I think really when it boils down to it, I think Slade and I think Slade's the only person I've ever played any games with on Discord. It's not even technically on Discord, but it's just not. A part of it, I think, my tea is just too hot. I keep on trying to want to drink it, but it's too hot. Part of it's that it just, a bit more of a solitary kind of thing. I can be a bit more of a solitary kind of person. I understand that. A lot of times, it's hard to play games with other people, particularly when it's things like Caves of Qud or Valkyria Chronicles, or I don't know, whatever else I play. Mega Man. We'll throw Mega Man, sure, whatever. Final Fantasy 1. Those JRPGs, those pesky JRPGs that I really don't are not conducive to multiplayer experiences unless you I think Final Fantasy 9 had that weird thing where player 2 could be the like two of the characters, character 2 and 4 or something weird, or characters 3 and 4. I remember there being some odd thing, because I think Matt and I were going to play 9 at some point together, and we just never ended up doing that. Played through 5, and we did play through 1 and 2, I think. Definitely 1. But anyways, the so you have that subset of people, and I think this is why people will get really, really hyper defensive, or just aggressively so, in trying to defend whenever somebody's like, oh, hey, I really didn't care for Final Fantasy V or whatnot, because the act of consuming the thing has been repurposed as to a part of the identity, which seems like a very unhealthy way to go about things. Not to say that everybody does that, but that is, I think, part of the problem is that there is this, like I said, I don't know why it just finally clicked in my head to be like, oh yeah, that makes more sense now, framing it like that instead of just going, why the heck are you so upset? And the same thing when can happen if somebody likes something that's very adamant. For example, mentioned it earlier in the episode, I am not a Beatles fan. I don't really like the Beatles. I bet you that there is some there's probably one person listening. Maybe not, I don't know. I bet you that you mentioned that to some people. I know people that I've mentioned this to who are kind of like, what? That almost like recoil at the thought of, how could you not like the Beatles? And it's just like, I really don't care for them. Don't have any other way to put it. Uh, just not my cup of tea. The end. So, but I'm also not a big, you know, I don't know, not a big music fan. Says the person who puts game music in there in their breaks and stuff. Better than commercials, right? Or making like fake ads. I'm not funny enough to do that. Like, or if my humor would just be like dumb things, and then no, like it's just not. No, I don't have enough brain capacity. I barely have enough to do this. So, but anyways, to say that you don't like something can come across as an attack, as well as maybe to a lesser degree, maybe not. To say you don't like something, but then people are like, "Oh well, I do like this thing," and then you're trying to like rationalize or, I don't know, argue per se, but sometimes it's like, or throw out, "Oh, it's trash because X Y Z." The I think this is the more positive approach to the same sort of issue of turning the consumption of things into an identity is how people will justify it. Whether it's justifying it in the sense of they don't like it, or justifying it in the sense of, oh well, I really liked it, and this is what blah 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 blah. It's a more of a positive approach, and in certain ways, it is nice because it is more positive, but I think it still has this underlying issue of, like I said, the consumption being the identity, and it's like, and we do this with like a lot of different things, and not just games, but people who do this with coffee, or I don't know why I said coffee like that. Don't look. I know it sometimes creeps out, and I don't even know why, other than just being obnoxious and just throwing out sort of dialect there that is not me whatsoever. But but with coffee, or foodies, or what else? Just anything. This is the problem, I guess, is that it is through, and it's not to say that it's necessarily a bad thing, because it's something that you can present that other people who you may not know can be like, oh, they are also interested in these certain things. But I think what ends up happening is that it overshadows the self, and so the self kind of gets boxed away, or like just sort of placed into the corner to not really be not be really true. And I get it that some people are psychos and probably should stay in the box. But I think I think it creates some problems in that. Who is texting? That's 8. It just turned 8 o'clock. So I'm imagining that somebody on YouTube, that because my phone has to be connected to it, because I'm an idiot who doesn't turn off those things. Some video popped up. It's 8 o'clock. That means an automatic videos come out, which is handy. It's a handy feature. Like I do that with this. Comes out at noon. Cowboy Bebop, the Power On podcast for Cowboy Bebop, Sundays, comes out at noon. We're on episode 7. Yeah. So, anyways, but I think it ends up happening is through the consumption of things, is that it wastes away the self, to some degree. And I get it. In certain ways, it kind of flowers it. Flowers it. No, that's not the right word. It it helps it flower to some degree because it allows it to branch out. Just well, you're I don't know. I don't know if a good way to make it branch out. But there's got to be some correlation between say with like you like to cook, so you're kind of somebody who cooks, so it can play into being a bit more, and maybe you're an extrovert as well, so it sort of plays into that. Or maybe you're an introvert, so you like just be in the kitchen away from everybody else and just, I'm cooking, leave me be, tend to your other stuff, kind of thing. I think there are ways that the hobbies and habits we have kind of can help feed, or and foster the self, but also can really strangle. And I think through just strict commodification of anything and everything that can breathe or otherwise, it is more of a harmful thing. Like I said, and as I quote, it is a wasting disease, consumption, and that is kind of dark. that has really evolved into such a poor, unfortunate thing, like a disease, to what it is more of just this very blasé. We just want to the consumers of the third quarter, blah 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 blah. It has been sterilized to some degree, and it's a little I don't know. I as much as I can really dislike words, it's particularly when it comes to etymology. Etymology always fascinates me. Because you don't have to go hyper far back, but you can just go back just a little bit and pull out things, even to go away from like meanings of words, but like think of the phrases. And I think I've probably mentioned this before on a few things, but like just how the reflection of society with phrases where it's like curiosity killed the cat. That's where we sort of leave it at, is just that. And it's like, well, curiosity is a bad thing, where the other part of that phrase is, curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back. That's a very important line. That no, it doesn't. Cat's dead. The end. Never came back. And it also helps paint a mindset of a society that that's what they remember. Same with, I know I've said this before, but like same with a jack of all trades, master of none. Still better yet than a master of one. Like what's the other one? There's another one in there. There's like three of them that I always bring up. I think the other one is blood is thicker than water, which is a complete reversal of the biblical, what's the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. And they completely twist the meaning of it, and this is why I don't like words, because words have a great way of completely twisting meanings and stuff. And they're just, it is so hard to really get out what you mean sometimes, or how you feel. You can only get so close to that bullseye. Maybe. But yeah, this is, I guess, file it into a whole list of lines about how, capitalism bad, I guess. I don't know. Like, I'm not an ecologist. I'm not an ecologist. I don't even know what these words mean. I'm not an economist. But just more in the sense of, um, kind of like you are what you eat, right? So um, if you're only identifying yourself with that, that's why I try very hard to not imbibe in like really dumb things. Like, I try. There's some things I'm just like, this is too stupid not to enjoy because it's just fun, but it does. You know, I only have so many brain cells, and when I start ticking them off because haha the dumb thing, um, just because they're overworked and then frazzled and whatnot, um, yeah, I find it really odd that that Mark Twain quote of "I will never argue with an idiot because they'll drag you to their level and beat you with experience." Like that, I've seen a lot more of that quote floating about, and but then you turn around and then not necessarily that these are the same exact people, but then you see an inundation and just yeah, of we'll just go with inundation. It works. A flooding of just really dumb things. I will sit there and, out of morbid curiosity, and it isn't more than 4 or 5 minutes or so, where I'll look through Instagram and see these videos of things, and I'm just horrified. Horrified, we'll say, because I'm just like, how is this? I don't get this. I feel like I am living in a completely different world, and I can totally understand why my friends, aforementioned ones that haven't seen in 15 years, why they completely got rid of things like Facebook and things like that, because it is it's terrifying because people wonder where their time goes, and it's like, well, yeah, you spending it all consuming, wasting away through consumption. I don't know. But your life, I guess, do what you want. But in the same hand, I don't know. Beware. Beware of what you consume, and don't let that. I guess kind of like a for lack of a better way to phrase it, don't let it be a cancer that metastasizes throughout your whole self. It doesn't have to be the physical body, but maybe the spiritual self, the mental self, all that sort of fun stuff. Because you only have so many hours in a day, and I appreciate you consuming some of that with me. So, definitely let me know. I don't like I said, kind of a dumb thing to be like, oh yeah, this makes more sense why people get a little riled up, or they go the kinder route of being like, oh well, I like it, and by golly gee, it's fine enough for me. Um, how that can be, yeah, like a very, I don't like it. I don't like it. Don't like it one bit. But let me know. Let me give me some thoughts, some feelings on consuming, and whether or not there are things that you consume that you're like, oh, this becomes sort of becomes a part of you, almost like one of those like the amoeba things from Futurama, where it just sort of like sucks on your head. Kind of thing. That's what I sort of picture. So that's it. We're going to take a break and then get into the quote and then be on our merry way. So stick around. why I wave. I do it so often. Anyways, the tune there is which one did I go with? Crimson Wings, and I've been told about like the 42-second mark. Well, not up until, but around that like 42-second mark, 45-second mark or so, you really start to hear like how much energy can be in the song, but in a piano form. It's really, really subdued. I don't know. I still enjoy it though. And yeah, that one's from East 4 as well. Like I said, the second, third, and outro song are like East 4 piano versions and stuff. So yeah. Anyways, quote today is from this person who wrote Ecological Footprint: Managing Our Biocapacity Budget. The person who wrote that, his name is Mathis Wackernagel. Wackernagel. Sure. I believe. I think. Is he Swiss? Yeah, he's Swiss. Not that like does anything. He was born in Switzerland. So yeah. Anyways, quote is: "The last trawlers will deliver their load to those with the highest purchasing power. As the gap between high and low income people is opening further, society's ability to react is further undermined. The reason is that influential decision makers, who are typically in the high income segment, are removed from the realities of overshoot. This means that our system loses necessary feedback. If those who steer society are ever more shielded from physical reality, course corrections become unlikely. Overall, the experience of many influential city dwellers is one of city expansion. What is city expansion? Where did I get that one? It's still one of expansion. Where did I get city expansion? What? And I have, not necessarily just influential city dwellers, but, influential people who live in the yachts or live in very secluded farm estates and stuff. Yeah, so I picked this part of it because it is it is consumption. It is the wasting of a society, I guess. When consumption is the consumption of not even just the necessities, but beyond, becomes this constantly churning machine. And then when the higher players are involved, I think part of the problem ends up also being is that, and I bring this up, yes, in a societal sense, but I think there's something to be said of this also being a singular issue, the issue of the self, in that if you are shielded from physical reality on things, on those consumptions of things, then a change will not happen. And I mean, that can be with things going on, like some people are just stubborn enough to say you're an alcoholic or something, and you're like, I'm just going to drink myself to death. It would be, well, it's not really changing anybody's, unless they really are like, oh yeah, I don't, that whole dying thing, I'd like to hold off on that. Let me let me get a few more steps in before we get to that point. But until, or somebody who eventually becomes diabetic or something, it's like until they get to that point, they're just going to continue that way. And very rarely is there ever a course correction. Not necessarily that it never happens, but I feel like the times when the somebody did the good thing and was able to really make a big change, I think those things are a bit more rare than we allow ourselves to believe. And then we either do to the consumption of media and stories and stuff that tell us that, oh, this thing happened. So yeah, it's like, well, okay, there's 7 leaning towards 8 billion of us. It's a lot of dice rolls, or at least a very lucky dice roll. But I think I don't know, that's part of the problem of the mechanism that is human, is that we tend to just kind of go the way we go until we ride the train until it is off the tracks and has crashed, and then we're like, oh well, I guess we should fix this mess, and then we ride that new mess until it crashes, and then we just kind of repeat the process over and over again. And for some people, that is just madness. But yeah, that's all I got. I'm sorry, it's not a bit more of a lighthearted jaunt. Yeah. Happy belated Goku Day, since it was the 9th 2 days ago. So that's about all I got. Sorry. Yeah. So that's it. The tune we're playing out to is Burning Sword. It feels about as heroic as it's gonna get for this one. So thanks for listening. Enjoy your day, weekday, weekend, everything in between, and yeah, catch you next week. And if you watch this, thanks for watching. Yeah. So bye. I never know how to do the send off on these things. Thanks, and take it easy. Bye.